Howdy, Ags. Welcome to Aggie Growth Hacks, the podcast sponsored by the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M, where we're dedicated to helping entrepreneurs improve their business, connect with other Aggie entrepreneurs, and support one another. I'm your host, Greg Martin, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998.
Whoop. Well, we got a little story for you, Ags. Megan Bock, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2005, has gone from leasing frat rentals to building one of the fastest growing Aggie-owned companies. One of the catalysts of this growth was when her husband, Gabe, left a radio career. Yes, that Gabe Bock that used to host the TexAgs morning show, and he joined Bock Realty Group. It has been rocket ship growth from the beginning, and they have no signs of slowing down.
So pass it back and listen up to Megan and Gabe as they share some really good bull.
Well, Megan and Gabe, thank you so much for joining us on Aggie Growth Hacks. I've been excited to be able to have this episode ever since all four of us celebrated your Aggie 100 win just a couple months ago. So thank you again so much for joining us, and congratulations on your Aggie 100.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see how many years we can keep it going. It's been
that's exactly right.
2 years in a row. So it's been outstanding. And thank you so much to everybody for nominating us and then just allowing us the opportunity to celebrate. What a great night that was.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait until we have you on the Aggie Growth Hacks podcast again for being the company that has the most Aggie 100. You know, like you're going to have to go get like a tractor trailer to display them all.
No. We're thankful for what we got.
That's awesome. Well, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? If y'all are in Aggie land, obviously, you know Gabe and Megan Bock with Bock Realty Group, but tell us a little bit about your entrepreneur journey. How did you get where you are? Where are you right now?
I'm class of 05. Gabe is 03. We never left A&M.
Smart people.
We graduated A&M. We never left college. I went into teaching, taught in College Station for 6 years, worked at Grace Bible Church for a year, stayed home for a year. But in 2013, started my real estate career. So Gabe has a different journey of how he arrived here.
We got to A&M, knew we wanted to be entrepreneurs, and here we are many years later. No, we've been married for almost 20 years now. I remember meeting with her dad and asking if I could marry Megan. And he kind of was wondering, well, what's your plan, right? He's in oil and he travels all over. Mm-hmm. And here I am, this guy who was answering phones for a radio show for $6.50 an hour. I made $30 a week. Mm-hmm. I only got to work 2 days a week in radio, but I subsidized that income with a budding career at Chili's as a waiter. So here I am working across campus at Chili's and answering phones, making $30 a week at the radio show, trying to marry Kurt Gherkin's daughter.
Yeah, about to be a teacher.
Somewhere along the way, he asked, well, I hope you have a plan. And I don't know if I did, but I guess the plan was just work really, really hard, be the best phone answer for the radio show in history. And then maybe they'll move me up to board operator and maybe I'll get a chance to go do some interviews. And that's the way it worked out. So we did not have an entrepreneurial plan. Mm-hmm. It was really, let's see how far this radio gig and this radio TV broadcasting gig can take us. And we thought 100% it would have to mean moving. It would have to mean leaving College Station. And somewhere along the way, God had other plans. And we're thankful for that we were able somehow to make a career out of being right here in College Station. The growth of Aggieland certainly helped. It created opportunities to where we could have a family and be in broadcasting and stay right here in Aggieland where we wanted to be. We did not expect to be here our entire lives, but we're going to be here our entire lives, and we're so thankful to do it. And then somewhere along the way, life happens, and you get opportunities that fall into your lap. And thankfully for us, Megan really took that opportunity when about 11 years ago, she got the chance to be in real estate. And then many years later, I joined her, and we're entrepreneurs together. It was not a planned event, but it's something we're so thankful for.
So in 2013, I started in real estate mostly because I loved people and properties and also paperwork. I love the paperwork side. So I just really thrived in it, loved it, realized really quickly this was my forever career. And so we formed Bock Investments LP all those years ago, not thinking, hey, we need to start a company to be an entrepreneur and try to win an Aggie 100 award. It was just, hey, let's start this, Bock Investments LP real estate endeavor and see how it goes. So we've grown from 2013 when I had 12 deals. I think I had an average of one a month and was able to help 12 families to fast forward to 2023. And we are now we were at the end of the year, 12 agents, 4 admin, and helped over 175 families.
That's awesome. Wow. Congratulations. That's great.
I remember going back to that first year when Megan was in real estate. Here she is with a 1-year-old son, baby number 2, walking into basically frat houses showing leases and crying every single day. And it's so this was not a plan.
It wasn't.
We dropped on the scene and we're instantaneously entrepreneurs. I can promise you that. And I think most probably your podcast start with some sort of genesis and growth. And, you got to start from somewhere from scratch. That was about as scratch as it gets. So we tell our little Gen Zers, right, that come join us and don't want to do leases. It's like, hey, if a 30-year-old mother of 2 with a newborn can walk in and show these leases and no telling the smell in those houses, right? What you see, trust me, you can do it at 21 years old. I promise. If she can do it, you can do it. And if you do it, look at the opportunity for growth, because the growth is there based on, it's at your fingertips based on your effort.
So at what point did y'all shift from being a realtor to now being, building this company?
Yeah. So the shift for me was in 2020, the big year for most people. Something drastic happened. So in 2020, actually March of 2020, a week after the pandemic hit, I hired a real estate coach, and that has changed absolutely everything to have wisdom poured into me. And she is like my guardrails while bowling. Like she's like, yes, no. And so just to have that wisdom of someone that's gone before pour into me. So that's where it all changed.
Yeah.
Also, of course, we know the housing industry went bonkers in 2020, and it was a lot to keep up with by myself. And so I hired, my first hire was actually a client care coordinator. And one thing that we are so passionate about, Bock Realty Group, we are the service industry. Like we are here to serve people. And so we have lots of fun things that we get to do with that. But one of them is our client care. After that, hiring admin, wonderful transaction coordinator, and Michelle, she is still with us. Amazingly, she has stuck with us from just being me to now we, have a team of 20 when you combine all agents and admin. But those 2 assets of being able to take so much off of my plate, and then just having that real estate coach. And then for Gabe, realizing, hey, let's do this together. We always wanted to work together, even in college, but we never thought that would happen. But yeah, just 2020 happened, and talking sports with no sports going on was hard. And so that's when we prayed for about a year, and he joined me in 2021. And then we officially rebranded and changed our name to Bock Realty Group in November of 2022.
Yeah. So
awesome.
In college, I did music. I did a lot of just music at churches and things like that. And when she says that we always dreamed about working together,
I was going to sell his t-shirts. He was going to sing.
Interestingly, she's not a huge sports fan. So don't kid yourself into thinking that she was going to be some sort of producer on the radio show. That was never going to happen.
No.
Or doing sales. In this case, it was Megan would be in the back at the merch table, and I would be singing to tens and tens of people, right? And so that's what she thinks about that. That could have been an entrepreneurial thought while we were in college. That's probably our only entrepreneurial thought in college when I got fired from Sweet Eugene's. Yeah. All right. So there's a long way to go from getting fired at Sweet Eugene's because you're in college and you showed up 3 to 5 minutes late too many times. So Aaron and Matt.
Well, and just thinking back to being, newlyweds and not having money and your parents still helping you out, even though you're married. Yeah. We had to put my cat down. They charged us $100 to put my cat down. And we paid it $10 a month for 10 months. Like just not even having. We had to pay that $100 in installments. Yeah, absolutely.
But that adversity built and stoked an entrepreneur fire in you to be able to say, look, this is something that I'm not okay with just status quo. I'm not okay with being a W-2 employee. I'm not okay with someone else dictating my future. So I'm going to grab this, even with 2 kids with a newborn and saying, how can we create something? And you went from those humble beginnings. It is
scary. And to go from being a teacher to being in radio and having that paycheck, and then to go to, well, I'm going to go to, I hope we have
100% commission.
Like, let's both do it and let's do this as a family. Like, there's a lot of faith and trust in each other and in the Lord that it's going to work out.
December of 2019, I actually first brought up the concept of joining her in real estate and getting out of radio. And she was against it at first.
My exact words were, hell no.
I think it was the fear of the unknown of, we didn't know if I would be good at it. And TexAgs was paying me really well for that position and really taking good care of us. And so there was the guarantee with me, and then the opportunity as a young, running your own sort of real estate.
But that entrepreneurial draw of being in control of your schedule and being in control of what your business looks like and the culture that you get to create and owning your own business, that was draw for us to make that leap.
And she mentioned the sports shutdown. So March of 2020, the entire world shut down. But at TexAgs, I still went in every single day. I did a 3-hour radio show for 5 months with absolutely no sports at all. And it was during that grind of it saying, oh, shoot, maybe we go back to this dream of me doing something different and teaming with Megan.
And grinding for the same purpose and the same direction.
Yeah. So we did.
So obviously that has been very beneficial for y'all, and you've expanded. So let's talk a little bit about what the focus has been through that growth, but specifically in bringing on your people. How have you selected the key people that you've brought on? How have you attracted them? And quite frankly, how have you retained them? Because real estate's a very lucrative industry. Everybody thinks they can do it, but everybody's not part of a team. So how do you keep your core strong?
That's a great question. So I would start with your admin, and especially when you're growing a business with my amazing team of admin, I really do meet with them and say, how are you? What's working? What's not working? And thank you. Please know that we are in this fast track of growth, and there's going to be hiccups, and there's going to be things that work great and things that don't. And there's always going to be new things that I'm bringing to the table of like, okay, now let's do this. Now let's do this. And just having that dialogue of them saying, this works, this doesn't work. And I make all of my admin, especially in the growth phase, they wrote their own job description, and we have a Google Drive. Like, they wrote it on a Google Doc. Here is my job description. And we revisited that job description minimum twice a year. But in the huge growth, I mean, we were looking at that monthly, quarterly. Like, there's so much change. All right, what have we added to your plate? What are you not doing anymore? Okay, who's a key person that we now need to add because you have too much on your plate? When you're in immense growth, it wasn't me that was growing. It was our team that was growing, and really going to our key people and continually assessing. And I'll give the example of Michelle. I mean, when I hired her, she was checking my emails. She was doing all of our updates to our clients. She was doing TC, like she was doing a ton. But as we grew, she couldn't keep all of that on her plate. So then we hired someone else that was like, okay, now you do X, Y, Z. And then I continually looked at them and said, okay, well, now we need another person. So let's give them this job. And so it really was being humble enough to be, that system I tried to add didn't work, and it didn't work for you. And one of the best advice that I got was, do not quickly hire, wait for the right person. So instead of me trying to force something and say, I need to fill this position immediately, it really was, hey, I'm looking for someone to answer our phones. Like, that became a big deal. Like, I can't answer all the phones. There's too many inquiries. I'm with clients. I'm doing this. And just how the Lord brought then Sarah into our life, and she had gone through cancer and she needed to work from home and she had all this time. And she's like, I want purpose because I can't work outside the home. Mm-hmm. And so that was just a perfect fit that we were patient on, but just always checking in and revisiting the job descriptions.
So I got to ask, right, as a husband-wife team here, right, what has been the biggest challenge with that specifically to, really speaking to all the husband and wives, almost entrepreneurs, right, that are thinking about that? What's been the biggest challenge there with that?
Probably having an established entrepreneur pair with a broadcaster that really knew nothing about it. And then figuring out how to bring me up and train me, while at the same time, the husband's the head of the house, but I'm looking at her saying, teach me how to do this.
Yeah. And Megan's in charge then.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just first, it felt like working for her, but then it very quickly, it became, let's do this together. Like, this is definitely it's a great unknown, right? I left something that I felt like I was good at, I enjoyed a lot. And then going into the unknown of being good at this and figuring out whether or not I could, and then doing it together.
Well, I'll add, we reached out to great friends and got a lot of counsel from, okay, this is what we're thinking of doing. And the advice we got was, we knew that having separate careers was hard, and we knew that working together was going to be hard, but we were able to choose which hard we wanted. Mm-hmm. Just like working out is hard. Yep. Well, being out of shape is hard. Like, it's all hard, but you get to choose which hard you want to go down. Yep. And we knew that me teaching Gabe what he needed to know was not going to be a fun season, but we also knew that it was just going to be a season. Mm-hmm. And where we are now, 2.5 years in, we have our defined roles. Yeah. But just pushing past the initial, all right, let's do this together. That was hard, but it was about 6 to 9 months of hard. And then we got into our defined roles, and it's been amazing.
Part of that and did those roles just come out naturally? Was it okay, this is what Gabe gravitates towards and he really loves, and then this is what Megan is passionate about and she's best at. So you do that, and we're good.
Yep. 100%. We're very different.
I think part of that was just having confidence when you first get into something new is, I in my mind, I had a safety blanket, a security blanket of, we're going to touch every single client together. I'll go be the little personable guy, and when they want to get real with real estate, I'll just pass them on to Megan.
Here's Megan.
And then it just becomes an education thing of
too much.
Yeah, we were growing a lot. And the marketing that comes with the big announcement of I'm leaving radio, I'm getting into real estate, and then having all these Aggies call in the hottest time. I left in the summer of 21. Everyone was buying and selling houses. So a lot of people were calling. I knew nothing about real estate. I needed to get myself educated because we could not touch every single client.
Yeah.
So it's a fast track thing of being confident that, okay, now I can take buyers. Anybody who wants to sell, they go to Megan. And then it became, now I need to take sellers too. And we need to attract other agents that can go show. And then, that way we can touch more and more clients, because more and more clients were calling. So it just become an educational thing of spending the time doing the work so that you can be really good at and confident in your job.
And truly knowing each other and knowing your strengths and weaknesses. And I don't know if anyone's into the Enneagram, but we did the Enneagram. Okay, here's your strengths. Here's how you operate. Here's how you like to be talked to. But it's just allowed us to know each other better. And we even have job descriptions. So even though we're married and, we own the business, like Gabe has a job description on a Google Doc, I have a job description, and our team knows about it. Mm-hmm. So it's clearly defined with our team as well of, okay, do I go to Gabe? Do I go to Megan? They're married. Like, it's like kind of pitting mom and dad against each other, but it's really, really clear on expectations and reporting and our systems. And so it's just really good communication with the people that you work with. And
I might have to make that a personal hack so that Grayson doesn't, play mom against dad.
Here's our job description.
Dad doesn't do this, this, or this.
Yeah, one guy called me last week and he brought up a situation. I go, oh, you and I both know that's a Megan question.
Oh.
I'll talk to you in 15 minutes, but talk to her first.
That's awesome. Well, so looking it forward, right? You guys obviously are very successful, two-time, right? Aggie and 100 winners. What's it looking like in your mind 5 to 10 years from now? What's your moonshot, your big, hairy, audacious goal?
To get better coffee cups. This barely holds it's a cool brand. I mean, I love our brand. Hey, I definitely want to get a better looking coffee cup that holds more.
Yeah, big goals here.
Yeah.
For me, and this is not something I think we set out to do, but it's just happened organically.
Yeah, we never at A&M thought, oh, we're going to be entrepreneurs. Then once we never thought, okay, our goal is Aggie 100. Like all of these things just happened.
Yeah, you try to be a good person. You try to be good to people and serve people well. And people, we don't have past clients. So if we do a transaction, I call them life clients. And so we think we have clients for life. I mean, most people are going to live in at least 7 houses. Mm-hmm. And along the way, they're going to have a ton of friends buying and selling. And so the stat is 46% of buyers across the country, when they go to sell, they use a different realtor than the agent that they used to buy. And that's because most of the transactions end at the closing table. The relationship, it's transaction.
And we do not do that.
We don't do that. So we constantly check in. We have coffee socials. We invite them. They're part of our life. Yep. Yeah. So that's a big deal for us.
But as far as when you ask, your question of where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years, we're so much in the how's everything going right now? Like, how are our clients? How's our team? How's everybody doing? Like, we're so in the making sure everybody's okay right now that we haven't really had those fun conversations where you sit over a glass of wine and ask, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? But where we're kind of see ourselves heading is we started in Bryan-College Station as a residential team. And we have now grown. We have 3 agents now in the Houston area. We added a husband-wife, a couple who does farm and ranch.
All over the state.
Awesome. All over the state. And they also have experience in Austin and Belleville. And so we're seeing ourselves grow geographically. Mm-hmm. So if you were to say, if you just threw up a pipe dream from 10 years from now, I believe so much in how we care for clients and the systems we have in place and how we market homes and how we help buyers and how we help sellers. We would love to help people all over the state of Texas, whether it be, their first home, forever home, farm ranch, whatever it may be. So I see us growing more geographically, and our, a realtor we have right now, they can almost have a team within a team, and then they grow. And just watching our agents, mm-hmm. how they've been able to take care of their families, just watching our clients' lives change, and then even watching our realtors' lives change has been just miraculous to watch.
That's a big goal, is adding offices, or at least adding boots on the ground across the state. We feel like we're touching the edges of Houston right now. It's not a huge goal of ours to be in the middle of Houston, but if it happens, it happens. Mm-hmm. We just so happen to hire people who have competency in different areas than we do. And we love that. If we have this, we just brought on a dynamo in farm and ranch and land development. And I was in a meeting with some brothers today, 7 brothers today on a 25-acre tract, and they just crushed this meeting. And I'm like, thank God, because if I hosted, that's just not my area of expertise. And God brought up that couple in our lives and on our team within weeks of this incredibly important meeting, mm-hmm. and they just absolutely crushed it. Yeah. And that's just an area that we want to grow and expand in various realms of real estate and various parts of the Texas terrain. So yeah. I think that's a big, hairy goal.
I think that is a big, hairy, audacious goal, but it's one that is definitely achievable, because I think that you guys build from the team. You build the team in order to have the purpose. I mean, your very first hire was administrative so that you could take care of your clients, and to be able to have life clients and be able to walk through that is going to do nothing but help you achieve that goal. So we cannot wait to see you guys execute and go on that. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about you, a little bit about your history and where you're going. So now we're going to roll into the lightning round. And so there's one rule in the lightning round. And since it's both of y'all, each one of you is going to get 30 seconds to answer each one of the lightning round questions. First question for both of you. What is your favorite personal hack? This could be a blog, a book, a mindset. What is something that we can learn from you?
So mine is mental. There's a lot that we experience as realtors that can be heavy situations, life things that, our clients are going through. So my favorite books are Uninvited by Lisa Turkhurst and also Get Out of Your Head by Jen Wilkin, because both of those, especially in real estate, like we deal with rejection. Like people tell us no, we don't want to work with you. And so that can be hard, or, hey, that didn't work out, or this heavy thing is going on. And so just having a positive and healthy mindset and mentally and spiritually has been key for me.
I think for me, it is getting into a state of consistently journaling. I like to wake up really early. I like to feel like I'm the first one up in Bryan-College Station. But for some reason, just being productive before maybe the world is productive.
Yeah.
And I like journaling. And the first thing I do when I journal, and this is only something I've been doing since September. I'm a part of the C12 Christian Business Leadership Group. And one of the things that really stood out to me in one of the meetings was a guy who just started journaling, and he journaled every day for like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And so I've been journaling daily for the most part. And the first thing I journal about is things I'm thankful for, gratitudes. And it really does a great job of daily resetting, because sometimes you're just limping into that booklet, that notebook. And but when you reset yourself into things you're really thankful for, you can turn negatives into positives, and you bring it all back to God. You realize that all good things come from Him, and it's just a really good daily reset.
Can you tell which one was a radio host that took 3 hours of time for 10 years? 3 hours a day?
I'm not used to 30 seconds.
10 years? I'm like, there's no way he's doing these.
I speak in 15-minute chunks.
I'll do fast for you guys. I'll try to do 15, give him 45.
There you go.
I should be thankful I got a little cold going right now.
All right. Okay. So what is your favorite business hack, book, or podcast?
So mine was Every Good Endeavor by Timothy Keller. I read it probably 5 or 6 years ago, but changing my mindset that work is good and work is purposeful. I think there was a lot of, especially growing up and being a Christian, I'm like, is this from the fall? Like Adam and Eve, now we have to work and toil the ground. And it just being, horrible. It's like, no, we actually had job purpose and work before that. And it's good. And it's how we serve others and how we bring, glory to the Lord and being excellent at what you do. Like, a good carpenter, well, if the chair doesn't hold you up, he's not good. Like, excellent, like being excellent in your job. And that has driven my purpose of how we run Bock Realty Group.
I've only been in for about 3 years now. And so one of the podcasts I go back to a lot is Tom Ferry is the global leader in real estate coaching.
Real estate coaching.
We're Tom Ferry clients. So I go back to his podcast a lot just because he does daily content. He's got a marketing guy. I'm big into marketing as well. His marketing guy's name is Jason Pantana. I follow on social media so many of these real estate folks, Joe Herrera and these guys, Sharon Shabazza, with that really just constantly educate. I'm in a big growth mode still, right? I mean, there's a long way to go. So much to learn about it, and it changes. It's a market, so it changes a lot.
Yeah.
So just all those podcasts and social media platforms that really help.
That's awesome. And it's so amazing that in today's environment, entrepreneurs want to share that, want to encourage one another, want to lift each other up, because it's not a zero-sum game. So that's pretty cool. So what is the best bit of advice that you've been given, and how have you applied it?
Oof.
I kind of touched on it earlier, but the best advice I got was not to hire too quickly. I am not one to fire. And so being really careful with the hires that we have and being patient for the right hire. When you have that job description in mind, really being patient for the right person and not trying to make a person fit whatever you need. Now, I do have some amazing hires and I'm like, hey, I'll do whatever I need to make you stay. How do I adjust this? So you want someone else to take that task? Okay, absolutely. So, I mean, yes, you're continually checking in with your agents, and your team, but just really being careful with who you hire and not rushing it, because then that causes some toxic situations. I have to fire people and I don't want to go through unemployment and, just all that drama as you grow too fast. And we have taken on, some situations where it was just a rush, like we're desperate, please come help us. And it didn't work out. And so just being patient.
I'll do it quick and say yes to your wife more. And really as a former talker guy, I'd say a really good piece of advice that I got was listen more than you talk. It's very important. One guy told me one time that my audience is going to be significantly less in number, but my conversations are going to be significantly more important. We're no longer debating the third tight end. I used to think that sports talk radio was an important job, or hard. But honestly, it's not. I mean, it was just fun. We got paid to talk for a living. It was pretty incredible about things that were fun more than anything. Even when they lost and you're stressed out or whatever, it's just games. But listen more than you talk, right? And remember that these conversations are deeply important to people that are going through a potentially highly stressful time in their life and incredibly important decisions, right? So ask good questions and really listen, and then try to serve based on what they have to say.
Instead of being interesting, try to be interested. Like,
absolutely love that.
Take care of the other person.
Yep.
Yeah, love it. Well, Gabe and Megan, how can the Aggie Growth Hacks family get in touch with you and help and support you moving forward?
Yes. So you can find us on social media, Bock Realty Group on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Megan Bock 05 personally. You're Gabe Bock. He's all over X, formerly known as Twitter. And, our emails are our name, Megan@BockRealtyGroup.com and Gabe@BockRealtyGroup.com. And I would say, as far as supporting us, we are really big on word of mouth. Like, we want to take such great care of people that it just is an overflow of, here's our experience, here's what's going, that we went through and how amazing it was. So really, we all know someone, a friend, coworker, neighbor, family member, like someone has a real estate question or someone is having to make a real estate move, and just sharing, hey, here's Bock Realty Group, like reach out to them.
Yeah.
That word of mouth is huge. And, our passion, yes, is to serve people, but it's also to give back to our community. And so, we support amazing community organizations on the B community.
Refuge Place, yeah.
Yes, like we give back every closing to charities. And so the more that we're able to service people, the more we're able to give back to our community.
That's awesome. Well, Megan and Gabe, thank you for not only what you do in our community, but for the passion and the heart that you have to make your lifetime clients better, but also the wisdom and the foresight that you have to be able to say, okay, let's build a team that can do this sustainably. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Appreciate the invite.
Well, how about that, Ags? Was that pretty awesome or what? I know that I have a full page of notes that I took here with talking with Megan and Gabe about their business and really their explosive growth that they've had over the past couple of years. What was your biggest takeaways there, Greg?
Well, there's a couple of them, but the one that I really loved, I love where they talked about job descriptions, and they brought it up a couple different times. I really do think that's pretty cool that as a husband and wife, they have very distinct job descriptions for themselves to delegate their responsibilities and authority and what they're over. But I also love the fact that they were talking about they were growing so fast that they had to have their team's job descriptions. One, you allowed the team to write the job description and say, hey, this is what I really do. Because I know as a young entrepreneur that when you have teammates and you say, okay, do this, that scope and that job description morphs very quickly.
Yeah. Right.
And that's in, very fast growing companies. It's even more critical that you realize, identify, and address that. And I love how Megan and Gabe said that they would come back and sometimes even monthly look at the job descriptions. What are they doing? What needs to come off your plate? What have we added to your plate? Who do we need to hire? Where, what's the best next hire? And really to be able to have that and to keep, I think that was also some of the things that she said, to keep their good people. Okay, you don't like doing that? Okay, well, we're going to take that off of your job description. We're going to hire somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. What about you, Chris?
No, I 100% agree. And I love that, because as you're growing and you're talking with your employees and finding out what they like and don't like about their job and getting the stuff that they don't like off of their plate. I mean, that's amazing. That's a great hack right there. Okay. I got to say that my biggest one is when she said that their biggest catalyst really was when she hired a coach, right? And their coach, Tom Ferry, right, is a real estate coach. But I mean, if you think about it, right, if you played any kind of sport in high school, in junior high, in whatever, most of us grow up playing sports. We don't really get to the chance to do that, most of us, right, as you go into college and beyond. But hardly any entrepreneurs that I talk with actually have a coach, right? And I know that has been a huge catalyst for my success, my personal success.
Yeah.
Is that I have a team of coaches. If I have a problem with something, I can go right to them and ask, hey, sales coach, how do I fix X, Y, and Z or whatever, So I think that's a huge thing to consider is that if you don't have a coach, you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a coach, go find one. They're out there. They're out there everywhere. Any kind of coach that you want to for your type of business, they're out there. Just Google them up and go find and vet out someone and see who you can work with.
Yeah. And when she said that, I thought of you and just from, talking with you and your business of how not only from a growth standpoint, but what did hiring a coach do to you from a mental standpoint, like where you were mentally before and then now?
Yeah. And it's been huge for me. I mean, honestly. Yeah. And both from a personal growth standpoint, all the way to a business growth standpoint, because honestly, your business depends on you. So if you're not growing, your business is not going to grow either. So you have to work on yourself first.
Love it. I think we can make a podcast out of that.
I know, right?
Well, Ags, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you connected with Gabe and Megan. If you're not connected, make sure that you do connect with them. I mean, you just kind of listen to their passion and how they want to serve people with their real estate needs, not just a transaction, but for life. So if you're looking to have some type of real estate transaction, if you're looking to get into real estate, they're obviously a growing Aggie-owned company that's very successful. So make sure you check that out. While you're on the webs, check out Chris and I and Aggie Growth Hacks. Connect with us. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to connect with you. And if you can just do us a huge favor and give this episode a big thumbs up and subscribe and share this episode so that we can get Aggie Growth Hacks out to more Ags.
We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M University. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship for Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head on over to their website right now to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin right now. Well, Ags, join us next time when we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.
Whoop.